Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Marriage is Tougher Than Woodpecker Lips podcast. This is Brian, joined by my co-host, Paul. We'd like to welcome you to a community meant for the men of the world to share their thoughts and perspectives on marriage. We can learn from each other's experiences and help each other be better husbands. This week on the pod, we want to talk to you about, should we agree on everything?
And before we hop into the episode, we'd just like to welcome you. So thank you for taking some time to hang out with us. If this is your first time, thank you. We appreciate that for checking us out. If you've been rocking with us for a while, we appreciate that. And for coming back. If you'd like to go deeper in this conversation, please search Marriage is Tougher on any social media platform. And you can go to marriageistoffer.com to see all of our archived episodes and hit the contact form if you'd like to leave us a comment or a review or be a guest. So hit that contact form. You can do all those things. But again, we appreciate you coming alongside with us in this conversation. Let's hop into it.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, on the surface, it almost feels like, yes, we should agree on everything. So I'm going to spin a little bit. My second thought to it is, nah, not really, but we should agree to a certain extent before we proceed. Right? Because, like, obviously there's going to be differences of opinion, differences of experience that help you form said opinions. And I feel like in a marriage, not knowing, you might think, yeah, we get along. We're going to agree on everything.
Right. There's that. It's basically, what is your dream? What's your dream? What's your picture of marriage look like? What have you seen? What have you experienced? And we only like to think about being aligned, right? In marriage, yeah, it's perfect, especially you first get together. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, we have so much in common. Even in our differences, we respect those, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be great. So you can have those rose-colored glasses for a while. And then you just ask, where do you want to eat? And that kind of blows it all up. But on a serious tip, I think, like you said, it's a both and. It's like, what are the major things we agree on? And then what are the minor things that might just be preferential?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a yes question mark. But it's really coming to the head of being okay with compromise. Right. So it might be agreement for the good of the marriage or the good of the situation, but maybe not agreement where you initially started.
I don't necessarily think that you have to end on agreement either.
Okay.
So there are inevitably going to be scenarios or situations where maybe your view on things is so different that you may have to agree to disagree. Right? Like, think political views. In my family, me and my wife have different political views. All right. And while we may have conversations that touch on those, we typically don't go far enough in them where we then become combative. Right. So it's kind of like all right, on that topic specifically, we're going to have to agree to disagree. And we may talk about it mildly in depth until it gets to that point where we see, like, okay, so you're like, we're not convincing each other. Right. Like we're way too late in life, and opinions have been formed and exercised, and so things like that I think are okay, right? It's not right. Like, as close as we are as friends, there are going to be some things that we
Mm-hmm.
disagree on, right? On how to do this, how to do that, whatever. Um, how to, you know, I mean, it could be something like you might raise your children differently than your friends,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean you can't still be friends,
Right.
right? Um, so I think knowing that early on and learning how to navigate it is key.
Oh, I agree. I think even, but the thing is, you said we agree to disagree,
Correct.
right? So there is an agreement and a non agreement, if that makes sense. So
Right.
you're agreeing for the good of the marriage that it's okay for us to have different views in what we ascribe to,
Right.
right? So you still had to come to that point, right? Because you could be in that example, right? You could just every time something comes up, you could uh like you said, try to convince your partner to come to wherever my lean is politically for this issue,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, what does that matter, right? What is it serving?
Right.
Is the goal to be aligned politically in the household, or is the goal to walk through the freedom that we have in America to have a different choice and still be married and be okay to be diverse in that space,
Yeah.
right? So it's just what it I guess it comes down to what is your goal in your marriage on whatever the topic is that you're discussing,
Yeah.
right? How big is it? Yes, politics is big, but you found a way to live through that within your
Yeah.
marriage.
It's not bigger than us,
Correct.
right?
That part.
And I think that's another thing. Like, we always talk about dying to things for the sake of your marriage, right? Like, okay, yeah, I stand on business on this topic, but it ain't more important than my wife. I'm not. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to muddy the waters or trouble my marriage over some political topic. Like, that's crazy to me. Right? Like,
Absolutely.
it's it's have a conversation, know where each other stands.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, like, it would have to be something so absolutely egregious for it to break us, right? Like, I can't even. I could think of some pretty egregious things, but I can't pick any one thing right now that would be like, oh yeah, like, nah, it's over.
Yeah. And
Like, not getting touched.
that's a thought process we should all, as being married or considering being married, think about, right? What is our main goal, and should there be anything that should break us? Excuse me. And what are those things that we think we have to be aligned on, right?
Mhm.
Like, if you're a political person and really into that, that's your job, or really into it, and that's a part of your life identity,
Mhm.
then maybe you should marry someone with those same political things. But at the same time, that's just one of the things that make up who you are.
Right.
And it's almost like, okay, should your spouse's political views change, are you now going to divorce them?
Hmm.
Are you blowing up your family over political views? I don't know. Like, that's not that important enough to me.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to figure out what that is. And sometimes we don't know that till we're in it. But at the same time, is your marriage and your family more important than an outside influence?
Yeah. And the other piece to it is when things are different, I think we are too used to practicing looking at them in polarizing ways, right? So, what are the similarities between what your views may be. That's worth the conversation, right? And you very well may find out that, oh, that's not as crazy as I thought it was, right? But it's so easy for us to see something different just in name, right? Like, oh, you're Democrat, I'm Republican. You're crazy, right? Like, but why do you think that?
Right. That's such a good point. It's will you take the work and put in the time to walk out the differences,
Hmm.
right? And that's the beautiful thing about marriage or any relationship that's worth hanging around. You're normally aligned on like 75% of the things.
Yeah,
I dare say more than that, but I don't have the stats to say that.
right.
Um, so even in the human condition, like we're more alike than we're not. Like it's like the things that make us different, it's the percentage is so low of that one thing that makes us different, but it makes us different, right?
Yeah,
So we just have to go. If you take the view to let's see what's similar in this difference, it always gives you an anchor to hang on to and be like, okay, we're actually mostly there. And these one or two things are what makes it different. So let's hang out in the similarities and how can we move forward with those? So you're actually, if we're talking about agreeing and not disagreeing, like you're actually agreeing more than you're not.
yeah,
And if you look at it that way, then that can help you. If that's a stumbling spot for you where you get hung up, that can help free you from disagreeing, whatever that is. Right.
yeah,
Because even if it's like parenting style, right, it's still like, what's the end goal? Like, are we trying to raise good humans that know how to make their own choices, that won't be taken advantage of, that will be respectful, that will be productive, that, yes, how we get there might be different, but even on that, where are the things that are the same on how we get there? And
yeah,
but it takes time to really flesh that all the way out instead of just being like, nope, they're gonna do what I say, I don't care. And the other person like, well, let's talk about it and blah blah blah. Like, okay, there's power in both of those, right? Being able to understand that there will be sometimes you have to just do whatever the authority is, whatever your boss says for your job, whatever, you know, organization leader that you're a part of. But then there's also, yes, you have to have a voice and be able to speak up and express how you feel in those situations. So there's that dual purpose, but you can get so on the opposite. Like, why would you even want a parent like that? They're going to be terrible, both ways.
yeah,
But if you can really flesh it all the way out, and even if it's down to like get a piece of paper out, what are the similarities? What are the differences? Or, separate pieces of paper, write down all the positive things about said thing,
mhm,
right? And then when you bring that together, you'll probably have a lot of the same positive positive notions on those.
yeah. It sounds a lot like a core values
Mm-hmm.
conversation, right? If you establish what our core values are and we're letting that guide our decisions, chances are you're going to end up in the right spot. And it reminds me a lot of a conversation I had in counseling yesterday where we were talking about seeing the good in or leading with love even when you're in disagreement,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's a skill that really needs to be developed, because again, that's something that gets so polarized, right? We get into a disagreement, and so many times it feels like I'm right and you're wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? But could it be I feel like you're wrong, but let me investigate to see why you are saying these things, feeling this way, have this opinion. Maybe we land a lot closer to the middle than we thought, right? Because I I remember having this conversation and disagreement with my wife. And I mean, we, for like a solid hour, were just going at it. And then eventually realized, like, oh, wait, we're trying to say the same things. We're just communicating it differently. Like, what are we doing?
Right. Yeah, that's common.
Yeah.
But it is so if we're talking about core values, then I guess it does come back to agreeing on most things, right? Because right, once you flesh out the core values, then this is what we agree with,
Yeah.
or this is what we're working toward, this is what we've decided we're moving forward with. So there is a most of the things you will agree on because you've already hashed out what our stance is in this marriage, right, or in this agreement, this partnership. This is
Yeah.
where we're at. Um, so when something comes up and it's against that or contrary, let's say contrary to that, um, I think it's up to one of the partners to call that out
For
and
sure.
be like, hey, like that's not what we've said our core values are. And then, but even in that, you still have the conversation of, okay, maybe this is later in life and we haven't talked about this in a while and I've been thinking about this and blah, blah, blah. Now we have a conversation and
Hmm.
then we move forward and, you know, then you can decide, is this a one-off thing and maybe we just agree to disagree, or is this something that we need to add to our core values that we never even thought about that just
Yeah.
popped up out of nowhere? So there's, yeah, it's fluid, right? Like everything that's the human experience, or I should say
Yeah.
most things. That's the human experience. It's fluid. What you have to communicate and decide, where are we in this moment?
Right. Right. Um, I remember this is going to be a good story, but I remember when we first broached the topic of paying off our debt, right? My personality is cool. That's what we're doing. Great. Scorched earth, right? My wife was like, nah, son. Hold on.
Right.
What do you mean we're not gonna do this, this, or this? She's like, I'm not trying to make that heavy of a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I bend to accommodate, and she also bends to accommodate. So we come to a compromise somewhere near the middle, right? Which will inevitably get us to the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but thankfully for her, right, we didn't have to suffer as much as I would have had us suffering, because there have been no vacations, no
Right.
going out to eat, no nothing, right? Kids' activities cut.
Right.
Right?
Just stuck in the house looking at each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah. How's that rice coming?
Right.
How about them beans?
Right.
And you know, she holds me accountable to making sure our life is still comfortable no matter what we are planning to do. Um, I think she is the reason that I have experienced some things in life that I may not have, because I mean, and even just small things, right? Like I say it all the time that she's the one who makes sure that we take pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself so crazy. I used to resist, right? Like, oh, here we go. More pictures. It's not going to be right. We're going to have to take a million more, right? You know, the kids ain't going to act right. So,
Right.
like, why are we even doing this, right? And I know the why, but it's more like, why right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then just to show what has changed within me this past Easter, like I was the one who initiated the pictures. That would have never been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also just in a different place in my life. I don't know, man. Like I want to see those memories. I want my wife to feel at ease for getting the things that she wants,
Mm-hmm.
um, feeling more comfortable to ask for them and not feel like, oh, all I want to do is get some pictures and now I got to fight him and the kids.
Right.
Right. So just having that realization and knowing that I have the capability to assist and make the process easier. And oh, by the way, if we tag team this, like the kids are probably going to act right.
Right.
Right. They're not going to see my example and be like, I don't want
Right.
to do
I don't
this.
want to do this either. He said
Yeah.
he don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh, well, guess what? It's still happening. So,
Yep. No, that's a good example. I think that's something to I think we can wrap that up there. It's about uh experiencing and sacrificing, right? Like how it comes back to, right? What is love? Sacrifice, right?
yeah.
What is marriage? Love, right? What is marriage? Sacrifice. So just, your how important is whatever wherever your stance is. And like you said in the beginning, is it worth your marriage or is it bigger than your marriage?
Mhm.
Is it bigger than your spouse? No, nothing should be really. So just working through that and something as quote unquote small as pictures, which can feel big in the moment, but slowly letting the reason resonate you and your love for your partner
Mhm.
resonate in that space, and your heart can change. You just have to be open to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great example. So thanks for sticking with this one. We appreciate you guys. Again, if you want to go deeper, if you have any areas that you think you should agree or disagree on 100%, um, reach us out on any social media channel, search Marriage is Tougher, or go to marriagestougher.com and leave a comment on our contact form and be like, nope, got to agree on this 100 times, or that's okay, we can disagree. But just leave something there. We'd love to connect with you. We just want a community where people can feel um, like they're together on this marriage journey and trying to win in marriage as a husband. So we appreciate that. And with that, we'll chat later.
Peace.
Stop.